Hey everybody, welcome to the Lunar Lowdown with me, Sally Nurney. This is the lowdown for the new moon happening Monday, the 27th of March, 2017 at about 9 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So here we are in front of some beautiful water because the sun and the moon stand together in front of the constellation of Pisces, the fishes. The symbol of Pisces is of two fishes, one swimming down and one swimming up. This is to emphasize the dual nature of the sacred human being who's associated with the constellation of Pisces, and who, on the one hand, has to deal with the practical nature of the physical body and its needs, and on the other hand, the spiritual nature, the stellar origins, and the higher realms towards which we climb. For many, tending to this practical nature is enough work for one lifetime. It's not to be diminished or overlooked. Indeed, in the Eastern traditions, they use a term that I love called the householder. You know, that the skills and lessons of simply tending to the world rather than running away into some ivory tower somewhere to be spiritual, that householder term emphasizes the many lessons to be learned in just simply maintaining that part of the life. The other fish that's swimming upwards towards the stellar origins and the path of evolution marvels at the ingenuity, the creativity, and the innovation of the human being. All the better things that we have done to make things, yes, easier so that we have time to open up to some of the more special questions of what is it to be a human being. So these are the energies that we're working to synthesize as the sacred human being all the time. And now we add in the little extra spices for this specific new moon. When I first stepped into my place of consciousness to find out what we needed to know, I was immediately shown the bottom half of my body as a fishtail, shimmery, scaly, and it also brought to mind the snake and snake medicine. I was immediately struck by the mobility and the flexibility, and the snake reminded me of shape-shifting and transformation. And the star beings affirmed this. They said, yeah, human beings have way more ability to choose than they know and that they take advantage of. I think this is a little confusing to them. Then I also felt that this sun and moon in Pisces is a little bit tricky and perhaps a little bit painful. Sorry. This linked back to the shapeshifter, interestingly, because there's so much power there, but when the snake outgrows her skin and it becomes milky white and she sheds it, she's incredibly vulnerable at that time, almost without protection, until that new skin solidifies around her. So these are our two main messages, that we are malleable shapeshifters and we're vulnerable in this transition into spring. We're soon to leap from Pisces into Aries, sidereally I'm speaking, of course, astronomically, physically. The tropical system, which is based on the seasons, already says that we're in Aries, but physically it has not yet happened. The sun will move physically in front of the constellation of Aries in about 2 weeks plus, a little bit after the full moon. We are soon to leap from Pisces into Aries. It's a magical time when we are going down, all the way down to the bottom of the spiral, and then we seem to pop out magically at the top. It's like an Escher drawing. You're probably familiar with those, where it's an optical illusion and there's cubes and stairs and people are going places where they shouldn't be able to. And as you look at that image, it plays with your perception. You're seeing things that are impossible, yet they're in front of you. Well, that's kind of how we are in life right now, my friends. So much is happening that we cannot grasp with our rational mind, but there it is in black and white, in the newspapers, and then in law. So consider that you have more flexibility, more shape-shifting ability than you realize. We don't want to define ourselves down so hard and brittle, certainly not now. Culturally, we spend a lot of time defining ourselves, building our avatars on this social media platform and that social media platform, letting the world know who we are and what color palette we live in and all of that jazz. but that can stifle our fluidity and our flexibility now. This new moon can be compared to the void out of which all things come. It is a deep, dark, potent time within which all possibilities seem to be bubbling invisibly. And so the question becomes, what of the many possibilities are you going to embody? What projects are you initiating? Where are you placing your feet on the path? What shape are you taking? Knowing there's an awful lot of possibilities available to you, more than you might realize in the dark. We are both vulnerable and wide open, full of potential, yet it's wise to be aware of protection, container, and boundaries now. Just like the snake between skins, be clever. Within the realm of Pisces, intuitive arts are an excellent way to dive in for some more personal specifics. I'm talking about pulling a card for yourself daily, or maybe pulling one at the moon. Also, shameless self-promotion, I am offering a 20% discount on readings on my website. Watch your dreams. Pay attention to that. You can even seed a dream with a question as you go to sleep at night, and then wake up gently to record the remnants of the dream time and the answer that may have come. You may find you have to do this 3 nights in a row to show your commitment and your persistence. We do not always get to bust through the doors of wisdom on a whim. So let us turn our vision outward, as the initiate would have us do, into the world and how this new moon plays out there. When I dropped in with the star beings, I got some strong information, and I'd like to read it specifically so that I don't deviate from their words. I sense the vulnerability of this time and how the dark desires and ugly motivation fantasies may gain weight and be acted upon by individuals. Perhaps they have power, perhaps they do not, and so their creations will correspond to that. The star beings had more to say. As activists, we seek to flow around these shadows, continuing to flow towards the taproot as you identify it. In other words, do not waste your resources on the tips of these plants, but dig down into its causes if you choose to root it out. Also, they said that subtle medicine can be heightened at this time, by which is meant prayer, power of prayer, and also connecting to the energies that you work with and drawing goodness up from that and sharing that out into the world unconditionally to help those beings, other human beings who actually are on the front lines and who may be in real danger confronting these shadow elements in our culture and world. As I sat with my guides in my place of consciousness, we got very still and very quiet. And she emphasized to me that it is this stillness and this quiet that actually intensifies our ability to perceive the patterns in the world around us and to be calm and with our breath was actually enough. It was plenty. It's fulfilling and fulfillment of my role as a human being, as our role as a human being, to be awake and to notice. So in my place of consciousness, I have many different kinds of beings who I work with there, and I asked them for any last advice. This is what came. The mothers of compassion, who you can think of as friends or sisters of Kuan Yin, said, be careful. The forest beings said, come to nature for healing. And the witches, my scholarly council of witches, said, take refuge in the teachings. And the moon herself, the dark moon, said, be quiet. As always, I hope the Lunar Lowdown brings you what you need to feel guided, connected, and empowered to make the most of this celestial gift of light and dark that comes to us always from the lunar realm. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.